Miss Neal, it is your claim that the Betancourt's German Shepherd attacked your dog.
That's correct.
And caused serious injury. Your vet bills were very high. The Betancourts say that they're very sorry that your dog was attacked, but it was some other German Shepherd. So tell me when and where this happened.
On October 22nd, my boyfriend Jesse...
Of this year?
Of this year, 2016. My boyfriend Jesse and I were at the park with my grandson and my granddaughter. We were walking on the dog path, which is generally where you walk, where you're just going to walk with your dog, not throw the ball. There's a field for that. So Jack was about 2 or 3 feet ahead of us when I noticed another German... Yes, this would be Jack.
It's Jack.
And Jack is 3 years old.
And he was not on a leash?
Not on a leash, because it's an off-leash park, but there are regulations, and I do have copies of the park rules and regulations. And he was just about 2 or 3 feet ahead of us when I noticed another dog, German Shepherd, come off to the side, start sniffing around. That's usually how they say hi. They sniff each other.
Okay, so this was a large dog that was alone?
A large German Shepherd. She did not appear at that time to have an owner.
Well, you assumed that someone was around. She didn't look like a stray dog.
Right.
Go ahead.
So after she nosed Jack a couple times, sniffed him, I thought, well, this is okay. She got aggressive. She picked him up by his sweater. She had him in her mouth. She shook him 2 or 3 times, pretty aggressively.
So he was wearing a sweater?
Yes, he was wearing a dog sweater. At that point, my boyfriend Jesse intervened, pulled the German Shepherd off. I reached down to grab Jack. I got a couple defensive wounds on both my hands because he was spinning in a circle. He was just frantic. Before I could pick him up, the dog escaped its collar again, grabbing Jack.
So the German Shepherd got out of his collar?
Yes, slipped out of the collar, which was not on tight, and that is an assumption. I will say that because I didn't see the collar, and picked him up again.
But your boyfriend was holding him back?
Yes.
And he slipped out and came in back and attacked your dog again?
Yeah.
Well, were you holding your dog at that time?
I had not been able to retrieve him. She swooped in too quickly and got him again. And that's when Jesse jumped in again, pulled her off, and restrained her. At that time, a bystander, I don't know who she was, God bless her, helped me. We threw my jacket around Jack, picked him up and held him close like that. And it was very difficult to do because he was in a lot of pain. He was crying. He was in an awful lot of pain.
Where was the German Shepherd at that time?
Jesse had her restrained.
Okay.
And while he was restraining her at that point, that's when I noticed Miss Betancourt come up. She did offer an apology.
She?
Yes, she. She offered an apology. She had small children with her.
What did she say? She didn't say, I apologize. What did she say?
She was sorry.
She said, I'm sorry. What else did she say?
At that time, I have got to be honest, admit, I was more concerned with Jack, and Jack was still yelping. All I heard was, I'm sorry. My conversation with her was that I wanted her phone number because we were going to leave immediately to take our dog to the veterinarian.
Did she give you her phone number?
Yes, she did.
Who wrote down the phone number?
I put it in my phone. We didn't have pens or pencils,
Okay. Took the dog to the vet. Can I see the vet bills, please?
Yes. I'd like to hand him off because he's not real comfortable. You're not comfortable, Jack. I'm really sorry. Okay, let me flip to the back. This would be the initial vet bill. There was an additional vet bill. This is the breakdown of how those charges were.
Now, I assume you contacted Miss Betancourt at some point after you had the dog tended to by a veterinarian and surgery was completed. On what date did you contact her?
Well, actually, I contacted her immediately, hours after the initial incident.
Okay.
It wasn't just one vet visit.
Okay. So she gave you her correct phone number.
She did.
And can you tell me the conversation that you had with her?
I was not able to converse with her when I first tried to call her and text her. I got no response. And then I need to explain that at that time there was a lot of trauma. We hadn't even been able to get Jack out of our car. He was in so much pain. There was a lot of trauma.
When did you finally reach Miss Betancourt?
Later on in the late afternoon.
Of the 22nd?
Yes.
And tell me about the conversation.
She called me back and she was upset with me for leaving messages insisting that she call, insisting that they talk to us about doing the right things.
Just a second. I want you to tell me what she said.
Well, when I first picked up the phone and she called, her tone was irate and it was along the lines of, I don't need you leaving me messages like this. I don't need you calling me.
What kind of messages did you leave?
My last message I left her was after numerous attempts to call her, and I was distraught and I was irate and I was, you need to contact us.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so she said, you have to stop leaving me messages like this, and then?
And then when I spoke to her, the end of our conversation was, your husband needs to contact Jesse. They need to talk about how we're going to resolve this issue.
And what did she say?
And she said that that would take place.
Did it?
It did take place.
So her husband contacted your boyfriend.